Do you think we can go 4 for 4? Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through the books that I would love to get to read this winter. This is going to be my 4th seasonal TBR for this year, and if I get all of these books right, or at least 75% of them, I will have read at least 75% of every single TBR that I have made this year, and I don't have to do any of my punishments. As you've seen, autumn went pretty well, so I have got a little bit of high hopes for winter, but there is kind of a catch. I know my reading tastes and I know my reading kind of mojo, and I know that in winter time, especially around December, it tanks. I don't know what it is. I think it's because it's Christmas. I think it's because I'm just spending time with family, with friends, relaxing. I'm not at work. So I don't have as much energy to give to reading. Even if I just try and pick up a book, it's almost like my brain goes into shutdown and I don't want to read it. I did still want to read though, obviously. But I kept it in mind, and instead of 6 books on the winter TBR, there's only going to be 5. Now, if I am taking that 75% rule into account, it means I have to have read at least 3.75% of every book. So 3 full books and about 3/4 of the way through a 4th book for me to qualify. Now that we know the rules, let's take a look what the books are. The first one is The Mercies by Kieran Millward Hargrave. I think this is her adult debut, and the main reason that I put this onto my winter TBR is because it felt very winter atmospheric. It's about a small island off the coast of Norway where every single man in the community has died in a fishing accident. They've all been drowned when there was a huge storm out at sea, and all that are left behind are the women and children of the community. So everything is kind of going that way for a couple of years until about 30 years after the accident, a man comes into the community for the very first time, and then things have to evolve and things have to change as they get used to this new energy that's in the area, and having a man in the area when there hadn't been for such a long time, and the kind of adjustment that has to be made there. The reason I felt it was so winter atmospheric is because of the storms, because of the waterside setting, because of the kind of raging seas, which is something that is quite familiar to me, having grown up in Ireland, where we have quite a kind of harsh winter climate. I don't want to say that it gets very cold. It doesn't like snow very often, but the seas can be quite choppy. The sea can be very kind of unforgiving to people who aren't familiar with water and who haven't been around water for quite some time. So having this in the back of my head, it felt like the perfect book to read in winter, because I knew that that kind of stormy atmosphere is definitely something that I am going to face when I go back home for Christmas. Next on the list is something a little bit brighter, and that is Holiday Romance by Catherine Watt. This is Catherine's 3rd adult book. I think it came out in October of this year. And it is about 2 friends, Molly and Andrew, who have been friends for ages, and they both grew up in the same community and have also both left Ireland. But like every year, they are coming back to Ireland for Christmas. I also come back to Ireland every year for Christmas, so I felt like this was the perfect book to read on the plane home. It felt like the right book to read about the people coming back from Ireland, having lived abroad or having set up their own lives abroad. It felt like that was the kind of serendipity that I needed for my Christmas reading. So I think I'm going to save this one for whatever day it is that I go back home to my parents. I am going to try and get that whole book read when I'm on the plane. Next up is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the 3rd book of the Kiss Quotient series, and this follows Kwan, who I believe is Michael's cousin, Michael from the 1st book. And I also think he is a cousin of Kai from the 2nd book, so there is a kind of a tie-in there, but I don't know if any of the characters are going to appear here. It also follows Anna, who is a world-renowned classic violinist. She has appeared in philharmonics, she has been in orchestras, travelled around the world, but her love life is starting to fall to pieces. She has just gone viral on the internet, and she is kind of looking for something new to explore. I've heard whispers that this has a kind of a polyamorous storyline to it, so I'm interested to see how that's going to go. But I've also heard a couple of my friends tell me that this feels like a book of 2 halves, that they really enjoyed the first half, but then it felt like a completely different reading experience when they got to the second half of the book. I'm going to go in with an open mind, I'm going to go in with no expectations and just see how I get on with it. Next up is a book that I am definitely going to read in November, and that is Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake by Alexis Hall. This has severe Bake Off vibes. That's pretty much what I know about this book. Rosalind is divorced, she's a single mother, and money is starting to get a little bit tight, so to keep her and her daughter afloat, she applies to a baking show, much like Bake Off, but starts to fall for one of the other contestants on the show. I also know that Rosalind is bisexual, so there's going to be bisexual main character representation, and that is something that draws me into a book so much, seeing myself on the pages of a book, so that was yet another thing that really drew me to this. I feel like this has the kind of cozy vibes that you would need in a wintry book. If the days are starting to get shorter, the temperatures are starting to get colder, and you're curled up beside the fire and you've got a warm drink with you and you're under the blankets, this just feels like the perfect thing to accompany you. Finally is one that I am going to read for the Pyramid Book Club, which is run by Michelle from Michelle's Library, Lexie from Books with Lexie, and Monica from A Little Bit of Monica. This is American Royalty by Tracy Livesay. This came in the October book box for Words and Kisses, and as soon as I saw this, I knew that I was going to take part in the kind of a discussion that the girls are going to have about this one. This, as I understand, is a romance between a rapper who is kind of like a Megan Thee Stallion vibe and a royal prince. I absolutely love a celebrity romance. I absolutely love a royal romance. So if you're going to put the two of them in together, this book is just screaming my name out. Those are all of the books that I will hopefully have gotten to by the end of winter. Is there anything that is on your winter TBR, or which of those books do you think that I should start with? If you would love to leave a comment but you can't think of anything that you would like to say, then just leave me the snowflake emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.